Hey guys, it's Stephen here back with another video. I know I kind of disappeared again. I'm sorry. I promise I'll stop doing that. It's just getting my head into this has been very difficult for whatever reason. I'm good though, and I hope you're all feeling wonderful. I'm going to try and be back and talking about football again. Honestly, I'm getting a new routine. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it starting from today. And today, I'm going to try and basically start something that will be pretty regular, just a roundup of the news that's going on in Manchester City. Even if it's a small story, I'll still talk about City. If it's a bigger story, I'll obviously put more attention to it. But I just want to go through all the rumours every single day, offer a bit of thought, talk to you guys and all that kind of stuff. And yes, there will be some live videos coming up soon. And also, I'm going to pause the Patreon again because I've just not kept that up. I'm so sorry. Been dealing with everything. But I'm good though. Hope you're all good as well. Right, today we're going to talk about a bunch of transfer rumours, some news from football in general, in terms of getting football back, etc. And just, chew the fat and all that kind of stuff. We're going to start with news about Houssem Aouar. Now, this guy has been linked to Manchester City quite a lot since I last made a video. And I'm quite excited by this one, if I'm being honest. There are implications, obviously, for other players. Most notably Phil Foden. But he's a good player. He's a really good player. Now, some reports suggest that he's been on City's radar since a couple of seasons ago when City played Lyon, and Guardiola was quite impressed with the guy, and probably rightfully so because he's very, very talented. He's really talented, in fact, and he's someone I'd very much like to see at Manchester City. This guy has got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of quality. I think he'd fit into a Guardiola style of play, which is obviously a much used phrase when it comes to Manchester City players, very well. I like him. I just genuinely like him, and I would be happy to see him. Now, obviously, there are issues about this in terms of who he'd replace. Would he block Foden and all that kind of stuff? And I do have reservations on that front. But I would suggest that maybe we're planning for the long term here, so we don't have to look at midfield again. And maybe we're actually seeing someone to potentially complement Phil Foden one day. I reckon, if anything, this guy is actually a potential Gundogan replacement. Now, Gundogan obviously has got plenty of time left in his contract, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gundogan starts to think, if in a year from now, Gundogan fancies maybe a move to Italy or something like that, or maybe even move to one of the big giants in Spain, and they would go for him, in my humble opinion, if he's available. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we have to replace him. Now, you might not agree with that, but I think City are hedging the bets here, thinking, well, we're going to just basically tick off the midfield for a while. We've got Rodri, who's young. We've got Foden. We'll have Houssem Aouar, who's young. And we'll have Bernardo, who's young. And we'll be kind of okay with De Bruyne as well, of course. Would he suit Manchester City? Yes, of course he was. Now, the rumours as well, according to L'Equipe, that Lyon will sell the 21-year-old for around 50 million euros, which is very, very affordable for us. And I do like him an awful lot. The one thing that I really like about him is his versatility. Kind of like Gundogan, I guess, in a way. He can play in a bunch of positions around midfield. He can play defensively. He can sit a little bit deeper. He can play typically kind of box to boxy, and he can play much more attacking. And he does tend to drift towards that left side and even cut towards the left wing in the way that David Silva does when he plays on that side of the pitch. I think he's very much he's that kind of composed, silky kind of player. And I don't think we want two people like, to me, Foden reminds me more of De Bruyne. He's more of a high-risk kind of guy. He will score the goal, or he'll take the shot or make the pass, whereas someone like David Silva kind of dictates play a little bit more. And I think Aouar is closer to that, and that's why I like him. Basically, he's a very good dribbler. It's very difficult to take the ball off him. I like the fact that he's very intelligent, very diligent in his plays, making lots of interceptions, lots of basically intelligent plays, basically. I really like the fact that he's just aware of what's going on the pitch. Good vision as well, genuinely good vision. He's good, basically. His return in general is good. 24 goals, 24 assists in 133 games for Lyon. And this is a guy who's very young as well, of course. You've got to bear in mind he's only 21, and he's got numbers that are pretty good all around. He creates goals, he scores goals, and he can defend a little bit. What's not to love? I would very much be happy if teams come Manchester City. I know there's a Foden issue there at all, but you know what? Part of life of being at a big club is having these challenges. And I think Foden would have to adapt to that. And I'm not going to go against that personally. I think I'm fine with that in general. Another player who's been linked to Manchester City an awful lot is Semedo, the Barcelona right back. I've seen this kind of dividing opinion online, on Twitter, on forums and all that kind of stuff, because it looks like another one where it's like we're just rotating good fullbacks every year. We've had Danilo, who I thought was pretty good, Cancelo, who's pretty good, and now it looks like we might get Semedo, who's once again pretty good. Some people don't really like Semedo, some people didn't really like Cancelo, some people really didn't like Danilo. I think they're all good, personally. Maybe Cancelo's ceiling limit potentially is higher, maybe. He is also a year younger, Cancelo, he's 25. But I think it's pretty obvious, despite what we want to believe, that Cancelo probably isn't really happy here. Now, I get that impression big time. He doesn't seem the kind of person to hang around somewhere if he's not happy, given his track record. And I think it's pretty obvious that he probably does want to go. And if we got someone like Semedo in, it wouldn't be a bad replacement. Now, given that Kyle Walker's currently public enemy #1 for being a bit of a plonker, maybe a bit of challenge would be good for him. One thing Semedo will bring is he's probably going to be a lot more comfortable doing that inverted kind of fullback thing than Walker is. He's a bit more comfortable doing that, I would guess, based off his style of play. He's probably better going forward as well than Walker. Maybe not quite as explosive going forward as Cancelo could potentially be. But I'd say he's a bit more balanced, somewhere in between the two. That's my humble opinion on the little I've seen of him. I've not seen loads of him, but he has been pretty regular for Barcelona. They don't hate him at Barcelona, but they obviously see him as dispensable in terms of getting their squad up to date. There are some rumours that there's a weird kind of merry-go-round, potentially. Apparently Barca want to swap Semedo with Cancelo, and then give Cancelo to Inter in a part exchange for Martinez. And Conte's like, all right, allegedly. Conte does love a good wing back, so that would make a lot of sense if Martinez is pushing for a move. Personally, I'd like us just to go for Martinez. We need a forward eventually at some point. But if it's going to happen, Semedo's just a good player. I'm not going to be excited by him. I'm not going to be complaining either. But I think if he wants to work for Guardiola, go for it. I mean, Cancelo, it's been a weird one. He's quite an intense guy, and some reports suggest he's not really... I don't know, he's not really settled into life in Manchester. He's not really settled in with Guardiola, but that will happen every now and then. Guardiola does have a record every now and then of not really getting it, of sometimes not getting on with a player. You can sign him a player and it'll happen. But that's fine. That is fine, It'll happen. It happens to every manager in the world, and Cancelo could be just the one that got the way. Which is a shame given his potential ability, but it is what it is. As it is, if Aouar and Semedo come in, I would not complain. I don't think either of these are as a potential play. It's not either or in terms of positions and centre backs. I think we'll go for centre backs as well. But but there was a good point from Sam Lee the other day on the 9320 podcast. Sam Lee said he thinks Cheeky doesn't think clubs are going to be getting the first, second, or even third choices at the moment. They're going to be looking at their fourth and fifth due to money, due to concerns around the finances in the game at the moment, and that's probably understandable as well. It's a weird time for a club at the moment. I've got a feeling City will spend, but not as much as we'd like to think, because I think there's going to be a stigma around it in general society. Clubs spending a lot of money. I think clubs are going to be kind of hedging the bets a little bit, not knowing when the money's going to come back into the same level. And clubs won't have enough money to spend and start that merry-go-round. Normally, it's like a domino effect with transfers. One kicks it off and the others go for it. But if you take one of them out, all of a sudden the spread, I guess, to use an apt analogy at the moment, it's probably not going to happen to the same extent. So I expect the market will be smaller, but I do think we'll be in for someone. I very much like Aouar for what it's worth. Elsewhere, there's been a bit of news about Project Restart and Pep's concerns, understandably. Now, TV companies have told the Premier League teams to be prepared to resume around Friday the 12th or the 19th. We've had one live game around then. So they're looking for like a month from now for games. Is it literally a month from now? Yeah. For games to come back. I'm very much on the edge of caution. Now, according to reports, Guardiola, Lampard, Pearson and Graham Potter all raised concerns, and then Mourinho, Klopp, Hodgson, Ancelotti were amongst those keen for it to resume. And this is interesting. Apparently Mourinho said during a LMA meeting, the League Managers Association meeting, if you don't want to play, stay home and watch Bundesliga. And Roy Hodgson said it was safer to be at the training ground rather than make a trip to Tesco. Just because one thing is safer doesn't mean the other is therefore unsafe. Just because one thing's safer, it doesn't therefore make that one not risky. That one can be like up there on the risk factor, one can be up there, but it's still nowhere down there. If that makes sense. I hate this. It's a strawman argument where they say, "Oh yeah, but that's safer." But the other one's still in the safe, That doesn't. It's stupid. And you think Roy Hodgson, of all the people, mate, you're high risk. You're vulnerable, Roy Hodgson. You think you'd be sensible, and also. I'm sorry, but it's understandable for Guardiola to be more cautious. The guy literally lost his mother. It's awful. It's a truly awful virus. It's a truly awful virus. It's devastating lives. It's affected me personally. I lost an auntie to it like a month ago, and it was awful. Not being able to hug my dad, and I guess maybe sometimes you don't quite realise the extent of it until you've lost someone from this. Guardiola lost his mum. Your mum. Imagine that. Some of you watching this video would have lost your mum. You'll know exactly how bad that feels. And I feel for everyone who's been in that situation, it's awful. And Guardiola, people forget that Guardiola is very much he's very much aware of societal issues. Guardiola You look at what he's done for, you know, the independence of Catalan, all that kind of stuff. He's very much a political person, Guardiola. He's very political. He's very he's a humanist, I would say, in general, in terms of his approach. A lot of people don't like him, but he does seem to have a moral core to him, and I do think in general he cares about stuff like this. And he's obviously got a personal reason to care about it, because it's a horrible testing time for everyone at the moment. And I think Guardiola is right not to be trusting at the moment. I think players, managers, and everyone need to see that it's going to be safe for them. And this idea of tackling and looking away, it's farcical. It's genuinely like something out of a sketch show. It's genuinely offensive to them. And I don't blame them for being absolutely apprehensive about everything at the moment. They need to have those reassurances. I agree that at some point maybe football will have to get going, as we'll have to get to work, but it's tough. I don't think it's anytime soon either, personally. I think we need to see how this plays out. Bundesliga is getting going, of course. I mean, I think that's too early, but what do I know? I guess I'm just one person in a sea of voices, and we'll see how that goes down. I think what will happen realistically is it'll get going, and then it'll stop, and then it'll get going, and it'll stop, and I think we'll realise logistically how difficult it is when players start testing positive, and then teams can't train, and I think it's going to be a logistical nightmare that will fall through very quickly. It's honestly... It's a game of buckaroo, and it's already fully stacked. So all it's going to take is one thing on top, and it's going to just kick off everywhere. I cannot see this going well, unfortunately. But we'll see, I guess. Guys, just one video there. There'll be more to talk about tomorrow and the day after that. I'm going to try and keep it up. Just keep pestering me on Twitter. DM me on Twitter to remind me to make videos. My head's been up and down, but it's up today, which is good. So talking about video, I've been losing my voice a bit as well. As you probably hear, it's a bit raspy. I need to find a way. It's because I'm doing a lot of videos for the games channel, and I need to sort my voice out. I need to learn how to rest it. But thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting as well and liking this video, as you always do. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. It's a horrible time. I know some people are more skeptical than others, and fair enough, but we've got to basically show a lot of compassion amongst us at the moment, because it's tough. I'm a pretty strong person, but I've been mentally wrecked by this, so I can imagine a lot of you feeling very similar. We're in a constant sense of fight or flight at the moment. That constant fear is there, and it's invisible, and it's a weird time. The adrenaline's rushing through our bodies, so we start to feel on edge. It's weird, isn't it? But we'll be okay. We will be okay, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get through this together. Anyway, guys, I will see you tomorrow for another video. Just a random point there. Apparently this is what I do now. In a bit.